Yo. Greetings ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another iceberg video by yours truly. Some of you might be aware of my giant 17-hour creepypasta iceberg video. If you aren't, I guess go check out that video as well. But if you are, you're probably aware that ritual pastas are a kind of creepypasta, though they do have general ties to urban legends as well, and have history that extends far beyond what we would traditionally call a creepypasta. Ritual pastas are rituals, games, and urban legends, usually with instructions and a specific way one does the said ritual. Think things like Bloody Mary, where you turn off all the lights and go into your bathroom, stare into the mirror and say Bloody Mary 3 times in the mirror. And then, according to legend, Bloody Mary will then visit you and take your soul or kill ya or something like that. That's the type of stuff we're going to be covering today on this iceberg. From the simple to the more complex, to ones that are just straight up instructions for you to look at, to ones that have a bit of a story connected with them. We'll be taking a look at the very best and most interesting ritual pastas that I could find. Now this is a little bit of a looser iceberg because there wasn't really a satisfactory ritual pasta iceberg that I was able to find by myself. There are some of them out there, but they're usually very disorganized and full of a lot of repeat entries. And even when they're not repeat entries, there does come a point with these ritual pasta / ritual games where you kind of have heard them all after a certain point. So I tried to find ones that were original, interesting, or creepy in some sort of distinct way. So in other words, this one's a bit more curated by me. But with that being said, please sit back, relax, and get your candles and mirrors ready, and let's dive right into the ritual pasta iceberg together, shall we? Bloody Mary. So this one is a classic and is often what people will think of first in regards to rituals. Now, interestingly enough, most of the time when this ritual is recounted these days, the instructions are to go into the bathroom, turn off all the lights, and stare into the mirror, and then say Bloody Mary 3 times in a row. And supposedly, once you do this, Bloody Mary will appear in the mirror and then kill you or suck you into her mirror dimension, something like that. This is the simplified version of the ritual, and it's usually recounted for the sake of a dare. In fact, quite a few of these rituals get simplified, as most urban legends do, mostly for the sake of kids scaring each other and that sort of thing, with the ritual often being done in a group of people eager to goad the one daring enough to try it and not get freaked out. However, going into a little more detail, originally the Bloody Mary was meant to be a spirit that was conjured specifically to reveal the future. It may appear benign or malevolent, which I suppose comes down to the person telling the urban legend, or theoretically on the phantom's mood, I guess. The number of times one speaks in the mirror can also differ from version to version, with some saying that you say it 13 times, other times they say it's 3 times, other 6, other 9, that sort of thing. But with that in mind, let's give it a go. Yes, I suppose it is only fair that I should do a few rituals myself for the ritual pasta iceberg. Now, the thing is if you're watching this video right now, then I suppose nothing happened to me, so it's a bit of a spoiler, sadly. But that being said, let's have a little bit of fun anyway, shall we? I've got the candles and lights and everything turned out. My bathroom is all ready for whatever demons wish to violently assault me. So let's get to it, shall we?
Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary. Well, there doesn't appear to be any bloody ghost here to violently assault me, so I suppose it didn't work.
Something interesting too is the Bloody Mary ritual is technically what they call catoptromancy, or divination of the mirror. Mind you, divination is really one of the primary things most rituals are based off of, that being the attempt to gain insight into a question or situation by way of an occultic ritual or practice. Mind you, that crystal balls and those who attempt to see the future in them are also practicing catoptromancy, and several more rituals on this iceberg will fall under this through some form or another as well, including the many Bloody Mary spin-offs / copycat type rituals, such as Candyman. The actual ritual of the Candyman, much like the Bloody Mary ritual, is done by standing in front of a mirror and chanting the words Candyman 5 times in a row, in which the ghost of an African American slave out for revenge will then appear behind you and kill you violently with his hooked hand. This one is pretty basic, but it is of course most notable for being a variation of the legend from the 1992 film Candyman, which is quite the banger horror film, by the way. Future Husband Divination Ritual. I couldn't really find a specific name for this one, but this ritual was popular for some time, even appearing on greeting cards and the like in the early 20th century. The whole goal of this ritual being for a young woman to possibly see her future husband. One interesting version of this ritual had the young woman walk up a flight of stairs, backwards, holding a candle and a hand mirror in a darkened house. As they gazed into the mirror, they were supposed to be able to catch a view of their future husband's face. You know, if they didn't fall on their dumb ass on the way up or break their neck on the way down. Which is actually quite fitting, because they might not see their future husband in the mirror at all, and instead, there was a chance that they could see a skull, or the Grim Reaper, meaning that they were going to die before they had the chance to marry. Bitch do be dying alone in that case, I suppose. Or it could mean that they are dying sooner rather than later, so overall a bit ominous. Blue Baby. Blue Baby is another variation of sorts related to Bloody Mary, where you go into the bathroom alone, turn off the lights and lock the door. Then you stare into the mirror and hold out your arms like you are rocking a baby, and repeat the words, Baby Blue, Blue Baby, 13 times without a mistake. If done right, you're supposed to feel the weight of the invisible baby in your arms, and it's slowly getting heavier and heavier the larger it grows, until you start feeling scratching on your arms. Then, before the baby gets too heavy, you gotta quickly take the invisible baby and flush it down the toilet and run out of the bathroom. If you don't do this fast enough, a disgusting woman will appear in your mirror and scream at you to give back her baby, and will then kill you. Some variations of this ritual say that the ugly woman that appears will actually be Bloody Mary. Devil's Face. Yet another Bloody Mary sort of game, though played a bit differently. You play this one just before midnight, locking yourself in the bathroom and turning off the lights. Next, stand in front of the mirror and light 12 black candles. Finally, close your eyes and keep them closed until the clock strikes midnight. Open your eyes and you will see the face of the devil in the mirror, supposedly. It is also said to never do this with other people in the bathroom, because it is highly likely for them to become possessed by a demon. Charlie Charlie game. Jumping on to a different note, the Charlie Charlie challenge got some crazy big popularity a few years back and became a sort of phenomenon for a time. So, what's it about? Well, to start, the way you play the game is by drawing 4 boxes on a piece of paper. Then you write usually yes and no in the 4 boxes, with 2 of them being yes and 2 being no. Though I have seen some variations where 1 is yes, 1 is no, and the other 2 are more specific, like never, or maybe, or in 10 years, etc. Then you balance 1 pencil on top of another in the center of the paper, as you can see in the background video. Then you simply ask, Charlie Charlie, are you there? And wait for an answer. You then watch the pencils for a while and see if they move. If they never move, then Charlie doesn't want to play right now. Come back and try again another time. However, if the pencil does move, then you can then ask Charlie any yes or no question that you want, I suppose. Much like a magic 8-ball in that regard. Do this until you are satisfied, and then end the game by chanting "Charlie, Charlie, can we stop?" ending the game and closing the door to the spirit realm. Now, some lore regarding this game. It was originally an older Spanish game called Juego de la Presea, and was then first popularized in the English-speaking world in 2015, partly through the hashtag Charlie Charlie Challenge. Charlie is apparently a Mexican demon named Charlie for some reason. But honestly, there's not much more to the actual Charlie character, for lack of a better term than that. Now, what's interesting is there are several videos of Charlie Charlie actually seeming to have worked. Like the pencil does actually move, leading many to believe that perhaps this little game had some merit to it, or it was at the very least a very interesting magic trick. Ultimately, the trick is that the pencil, the way it's balanced, can be very easily moved by just the slightest bit of wind, or even just the breath from you or other players around it being able to move the pencil. In other words, it's a really cool gravity trick, and quite clever for a game like this. Corner game. The corner game, sometimes referred to as Square, is an urban legend game circulated in East Asia. The ritual requires 5 people and an empty room, and the instructions are as follows. Quote, clear the room and make sure there are no other people and animals in it. Turn off as many light sources as possible, except for the lights in the empty room. Everyone enters the room and shouts their name 3 times after entering the room. Designate one person to be the speaker, and no one else but the speaker should speak without permission after this step. Close the door and turn off all the lights. Each person chooses a corner to stand facing the corner. A corner could not have more than one person. After everyone stands in the corner, the speaker counts to 3, then ordering one person to start to move. Each person should go clockwise to the next person's position. Supernatural situations such as one extra person and one less person are said to occur during the ritual. If one person is missing, the speaker should instruct everyone to speak their own name backwards 3 times. Don't speak anything other than that. Then put their back against the wall, and the person closest to the light should go ahead and turn it on. After that, the person who disappeared will reappear. If there is an extra person, the speaker should instruct everyone to gather at the light switch. Then each person should speak their own name backwards 3 times, then turn on the light. After that, open the door and leave the room. Do not speak to the extra person." Unquote. Cat Scratch. This is another one of those classic ones, and can be played with the following instructions. Quote, you sit down on the floor. Your friend lies down on the floor with their head in your lap. Everyone else sits in the circle. You then rub the person's temples in a soothing motion as you tell them a scary story about a cat. Unquote. And yeah, that's all you actually need to do. And the wiki I got this info from, that being the Hide and Go Kill wiki, give an example of one such story. Quote, there once was an old lady who owned a cat. The cat was very nice. It meowed and purred. One day, the cat got hit by a car and died. Cat scratch. Cat scratch. Cat scratch. The old lady got a new cat. The cat was very mean. It hissed and clawed. Cat scratch. Cat scratch. Cat scratch. One day, the cat got hit by a car and died. The old lady decided not to get any more cats. Cat scratch. Cat scratch. Cat scratch. Unquote. Then, once the story has been told, the person will then get up quickly, and you pull up the back of their shirt. Red claw marks will then appear on the person's back, and they won't feel anything. Or, so the legend goes. This one, of course, being super easy to gaslight someone with, since they can't see their back and they aren't supposed to feel the claw mark, so it's then pretty easy to prank them and say that it worked. Kind of funny, actually. Ghost Paper Challenge. So this one has a few more steps than the last ones, and begins our foray into what I'm gonna call 3 AM challenges. Now these have gotten a pretty infamous reputation over the years, thanks to the whole genre of YouTube basically doing these 3 AM challenges or ritual type videos aimed primarily at kid audiences that are extremely over the top, obnoxiously edited, and admittedly sometimes accidentally kind of funny. That being said, here's what you'll need for this challenge: paper, a pen, a candle, matches or a lighter, a room with a door. Mind you that you should make sure that the door has a wide enough opening at the bottom so that the paper and the pen can slide underneath it when it is completely closed. Something to tell the time, and 3 questions. No more, no less. With all these in hand and mind, here's how you play the game. Prepare to play by turning off all the lights in your home. Enter the room you wish to play, and close the door. Place your piece of paper on the floor in front of the closed door. Light and place your candle next to the paper. Then wait for 3 AM. When the clock hits 3, knock 3 times on the door and repeat, "Spirit of the door, I welcome you. Make yourself present and come through." Now you can begin to communicate. Use your pen or pencil to write down a question on the paper. Then place the pen on the paper and slide them both halfway under the door. Then the waiting begins. If the paper does not move, your attempt to summon a ghost has failed. You should then skip to the last step to end the game. If the pen and paper are moved, you have been successful and should proceed. If successful, you may repeat this until you have asked 3 questions. You should then end the game. To do so, thank the spirit and blow out your candle. You should also make sure to keep the door shut until the sun rises and daylight is present. I hope you get your burning questions answered. And remember, never open the door during the process of this game. Wait until sunrise. You do not want to see what is on the other side of the door. Light as a Feather, Stiff as a Board. Light as a Feather, Stiff as a Board is a game played by children at slumber parties, much like many of these early entries. According to Wikipedia, the way you play this game is by, quote, one participant lays flat on the floor, facing upwards. The other space themselves around that person, each placing 1 or 2 fingertips underneath the participant's limbs. The person closest to the head commonly begins by saying something like, "She's looking ill," which is repeated several times, followed by, "She's looking worse," which is also repeated several times. The general direction of the call and repeat describes how the person is looking worse and worse, followed by saying, "She is dying," and finally, "She is dead." In a common modern version, the person being lifted is told a story about their death and asked to imagine it happening to them. This is intended to unsettle the participants and to convince them that something may have changed, making it easier to lift the person than before. All versions of the game end with the phrase, "Light as a feather, stiff as a board," chanted by those standing around the quote-unquote dead player as they attempt to lift their companion's body using only their fingertips. Some versions omit the story entirely, and only the "light as a feather" chant is used. After these repetitions, the person being lifted is described by the group as having become lighter, or even entirely weightless. The key to the trick is timing. Each of the lifters must apply the lifting force at the same moment. When this is done, the weight of the subject is divided equally between each lifter, requiring each person to contribute only 12 to 20 kilograms or 26 to 44 pounds to lift, to raise the 50 to 80 kilogram or 110 to 176 pound person, unquote. But yeah, that's pretty much how it's played and why it also sort of works. The Snowman Ritual. Now that we're kind of out of the sleepover ritual type games, for the most part, Tier 2 starts off with a ritual with a fair bit of historical background, as noted by the Hide and Go Kill wiki. Quote, "This ritual is done for peace and prosperity in winter months, in order to get favor and protection for the rest of the upcoming year. This ritual will take 3 days to finish in its entirety. The earliest accounts of this ritual go back to the 4th century CE in Greater Scythia, now southernmost Russia and Ukraine. rain. This translation has taken the original's materials and adapted it for modern times. Despite these changes, people from recent attempts say that the correctly performed ones are also very effective. Tradition dictates that this ritual should be performed on Christmas Eve, or the winter solstice, and New Year's Day. In general, it should be effective during any period of immense continuous snowfall. This ritual works the best for homeowners and farmers who keep animals and/or pets. Urban apartment dwellers can try this and already have though, but will have a much harder time ensuring it isn't disturbed or interrupted during the 3-day duration. Requirements: snow coverage of at least 3 inches, with temperatures near or below freezing over a 3-day period. 2 branches or wooden sticks, preferably forked on one end, rubber bands or string, plant material such as dead leaves or dried grass, vegetable oil like canola oil or olive oil, animal material such as feathers, handful of fur, etc., animal blood like pig or cow blood, a lock of your hair, a drop of your blood, a sterilized, disinfected needle, and a pair of scissors. Instructions: in your front or backyard, build a snowman. It must be as tall as you are. Family and/or friends can help build the snowman. Ensure the snowman is facing away from your house. It mustn't be looking at it. Use the tree branches on either side of it to form arms on the snowman. Do not give it a face. That will come later. At sundown, get the plant material, the vegetable oil, and the rubber band or string to the snowman. Facing the snowman, looking at your house from over its shoulder, secure the plant material to its left hand with the string or rubber bands. Dip your fingers in the vegetable oil, then press a finger into the left side of its face, forming an eye. This is the snowman's left eye. While you do this, say the following: Snowman, snowman, see my land, hollowed soil from which we stand. Snowman, snowman, bless my home, guide me back, if e'er I roam. Afterwards, go back to your house. Lock the door, then shut the curtains and blinds. Go to bed before midnight. If you happen to be awake in the night, then hear shuffling, the snowman is moving around, judging if your land and home are worthy. If you wake in the morning, then see the snowman back on your lawn in its original position, congratulations. If you wake in the morning and see the snowman isn't melted, but the snowman is gone, move to a different house. The next day, at sundown, take the animal material, the animal blood, and the rubber bands or string to the snowman. Facing the snowman, looking at your house from its shoulder, secure the animal material to its right hand with the string and rubber bands. Dip your finger into the blood, then press your finger into the right side of its face, forming an eye. This is a snowman's right eye. Whilst you do this, say the following: Snowman, snowman, see my herd, pet and cattle, fish and bird. Snowman, snowman, bless my flock, grow them grass from thorn and rock. Afterwards, go back in your house, lock the door, close the curtains and blinds, etc., etc., same as the night before. If you wake in the morning and see the snowman in its original position, congratulations! Your pets will be healthy for the upcoming year, and every livestock you own will thrive. If you awake in the morning, then you notice an unexplainable puddle of water near your bird's cage, cat bed, hamster enclosure, etc., but the snowman is gone. Say your goodbyes to them while you still can. They cannot stay. The next day, at sundown, go to the snowman with your needle and scissors. Look at the snowman. You should be looking at your house from over its shoulder. Use a needle to draw a drop of blood from your finger, then draw into a straight line onto its face, creating a groove in the snow. You made the snowman's mouth. Using the scissors, cut a lock of your hair, then stuff it into the snowman's mouth. Ensure the hair doesn't fall out. While you do this, say the following: Snowman, snowman, see my breath, drawing ever onto death. Snowman, snowman, bless my heart, judge me whole, and hence depart. Afterwards, go back to your house, lock the door, then close the curtains and blinds. Go to bed before midnight. If you awake in the night, then feel a cold, dark presence in your room. Do not open your eyes? Is the snowman judging if your soul is worthy? If you awake in the morning, then see the snowman in his original position. Congratulations, you're worthy. You can expect good fortune and health for the rest of the upcoming year. The next day before sundown, preferably when the sun is at its highest, go out to the snowman. Approach it from only behind. Do not walk around to face it. Destroy the snowman completely. Break the branches repeatedly. Scatter the snow from the now demolished snowman as evenly as possible, as if the snowman was never there. No trace of it should remain. While you're doing this, say absolutely nothing. Be silent. Once the snowman is demolished, the ritual has been completed. Enjoy your upcoming year of prosperity and peace. Enjoy it and use it well, because when the days run short and your luck runs thin, you will find yourself looking anxiously for the next deep snowfall. Unquote. The picture game. To play this one, you'll need a number of people, with a minimum of 2 players, but overall, the more, the better for this one. You'll also need a long piece of string or rope, 1 small mirror per participant, a camera with flash capabilities, a glass, a serving of alcohol, and a pair of scissors. Then, as per the instructions from amyscrypt.com, quote, begin by filling your glass with the alcohol. You should now place this in the middle of the room you intend to play within. Next, tie a knot in your piece of string to form a circle within it. Then use this circle to surround the glass of alcohol. Each person should sit in a circle around the glass. Make sure each person is holding their mirrors while pointing them up at the ceiling. You should now turn off all the lights to sit in complete darkness. All participants should also close their eyes, hold each other's hands, and recite, "I trust you," one after the other. Now they should simultaneously repeat, "The door is open, please come in," together 3 times. Afterwards, they can open their eyes, knowing that the entity they are summoning could now be in the room with them. Each player should now take a turn using the camera. They must repeat, "I caught you," before taking a photograph with the flash on, pointing the camera directly in front of them. The camera should be passed around the circle, with each participant repeating this process a total of 3 times. It is important that no one look at the viewfinder to cite the photos they take at this moment. Once completed, the game must now be closed. Again, all players must close their eyes and simultaneously recite, "It is time to go home," together 3 times. Each mirror should then be turned to face the ground. The lights should be switched on, the string circle cut, and the alcohol in the glass should be properly disposed of. To do this, pour it outside onto the dirt. Only once this is complete can you review your photos and see if anything strange was captured. While playing this game, there are a few considerations to keep in mind. Do not enter the string circle at any point in the game. If anyone begins to cry or feel ill, they must not be allowed to take any photos. If anyone begins to act in a way that doesn't represent their typical behavior, or just strange in general, the game should be ended immediately. If anyone says out loud that they are scared or something similar in nature, end the game immediately. The entity may take advantage of that person, considering them to be weak in nature. Unquote. Blind man's bluff. Quote, "It is best to prepare beforehand, so that way everything can be on time. Timing is very important in this game. You will need a dark room with or without windows. Windows if you want safety. If you have windows, there must be curtains or sheets on them. No light can be seen. There may be furniture in the room, but not much. The floor should be clean. I don't recommend having anything hanging on the walls. They might fall down, depending on how the game goes. There should be some sort of seating arrangement for at least 3 people, or no more than 5 people. This includes a circle of chairs, or a couch/love seat. I recommend the chairs if you do not wish to share a seat. The room is ready. I recommend memorizing the way to your seat. You will not want to bump into anything on your way there. I also recommend having your game room on the same floor as your bedroom. Go to bed at 8 o'clock at night. You will want to sleep. It is imperative that you sleep for a duration of time, no matter how short. Then, leave your room at 11:50. Put a blindfold on your eyes before you leave. Walk to your seat. Do not be alarmed, nobody will block you. Sit in your chair. When you feel that 10 minutes have passed, you will know because it will have felt like 20 minutes. Invite them in. If it happens that you do not want to go through with the game, then go back to bed without taking off your blindfold. If you wait longer than 10 minutes, they will be offended and enter anyway. Do not let them enter on their own accord. If you take off your blindfold, it is a signal of fear. They like fear. You do not want them to like your fear. If it happens that you want to play, say calmly but firmly, "Come in and be obedient." They will come in. They are your guests. They are yours to entertain, so be polite. Be mindful of your manners, and do not remove your blindfold. You do not want to see them. Be very specific of what you want them to do. They will do exactly what you do, and do not tell them to do. Before anything else, tell them your rules. You are their host, and they will not disobey you. Be specific. Tell them how you expect them to act. Tell them if they are or are not allowed to touch you. Tell them what they can and cannot touch in the room. Tell them where they can go. They are like children. Instruct them with precision. You may tell them to sit. They will sit. You will know when they are seated. You may ask them questions. They may lie to you. You will not know when they are lying. You may ask them to knock on the walls. They will knock. You will hear them knocking, as will anyone else in the house. The other person may wake up from the knocking. If she/he does, pray that whatever pain comes to you will be swift. You may ask them of your future. They will not know. They will not tell you. You may do anything, but do not cross their lines. You will know when you are crossing their lines. If you wish to ask them something and feel even the slightest hint of something wrong, do not ask it and do not mention it. The moment you cross their lines, you are dead. Remember to never take off your blindfold. They will ask you to. They will beg you to. They will try to force you with the sweetest tongues and the harshest tones. No matter what, do not take off your blindfold. And above all, do not be harsh with them. You are their host. They are your guests. You must never be unkindly to them. They will see it as a threat and take care of you as they see fit. When you are done with them, tell them to leave and not return unless you invite them to do so. Tell them that you enjoyed their time. They love flattery. You will know when they are gone. Do not take off your blindfold. When they are gone, walk back to your room and go to bed. Do not take off your blindfold. Sleep. You will dream of nothing bad. You may take off your blindfold when you wake, so long as it is daylight. For the rest of your life, they will follow you, but they will never be in plain sight, and they will never be there when you look at them. They will always want another chance to meet you. Do not exceed 3 meetings. After the 3rd meeting, they may invite you, and you cannot decline their invitation." Unquote. The Cursed Chat Ritual. This ritual is supposed to have you summon a demon into a chat via text messages. A bit of a more modern one, you might say, in that regard. To play, you'll need a smartphone, obviously, multiple depending on how many people are playing, a dark room with little to no background noise, 4 players, 3 candles. And then, as the hide and go kill wiki notes, quote, "Step 1. All players should sit in a circle. Take their smartphones out. Make sure there is no light apart from the phones. Once you are ready to continue, all players should dial in the number 021-5077 and call. Hang up immediately. Step 2. 3 of the players' phones should not receive a call. 1 player will receive a call from the same number. The player who receives the call is now called the texter, and the rest are callers. So, texter. The texter accepts the call and says hello, and then hangs up. The number will then call you again. Decline the call. Keep going until you receive a text message from that number. Callers, do not move, speak, or breathe too loudly. Step 3. The texter should continue to text the number. The callers should make sure to keep them awake. Step 4. The texter now must stop texting. The callers must make sure to keep them away from the phone. Do not let them near it. The call. This section is for if the texter starts acting strangely or violently when the callers take the phone from them. Callers, stand around them with a cross or crossed fingers. Callers. Dispose of all the phones used in the ritual. This is a must. No matter the outcome, they may return, night after night, to text the texter. The worst outcome. If the callers fail to retrieve the phone from the texter, they will come for the texter and kill them. Forced endings. If you need to stop at any time, you must do this before leaving the room. Drop the phones on the floor and smash them. Pinch the texter on the cheeks. Repeat, leave 17 times. If they do not leave, scream, leave now 28 times. If they do not, then you're fucked. Unquote. The 11 miles ritual. This one is considered highly dangerous and requires a lot of effort from the person, or at least a hell of a lot more than setting up some candles and mirrors. And what's more is, if done right, it would be one of the more dangerous ones as well, but with a good payoff. Because you see, this ritual involves you driving 11 miles in order to make a wish. Do note that self-driving cars are not allowed in this game, so you'll have to be the one doing all the driving. Nor are you allowed to have someone else drive for you. These are the rules before you start. Do not ever say the words, "God damn," "God fuck this," or even "swear to God," or something that contains the word God. A radio must be connected to the car. It does not matter if it is AM or FM radio. Do not open the window or exit the car at any time unless you are done with the ritual. Do not stop the car on purpose, no matter how much you want to turn back or stop playing. Never turn off the radio, no matter what it tells you. Always make sure to have petrol and or gasoline. Do not break the rules under any circumstances. Do not look outside, period. Only do this by yourself. Do not bring anyone with you. To begin the game, you'll want to start at night and start driving down roads not well traveled. You'll need to be in an area with a road that goes through the woods. You'll then need to begin looking for the road with your wish in mind. Your wish should guide you there. It is said that the road will appear on your right, so turn right. The road will appear if there is a single yellow lamppost located either near or next to the road. If your radio is on, turn it off immediately before you enter the road. Once you've found the road, be prepared. The following instructions are how to survive the next 11-mile drive. Quote, first mile. In the first mile, it gets strikingly cold. You have the option to turn the heater on. It is acceptable to keep it off, but it is highly recommended that you do turn it on. Second mile. From here, if you still haven't turned the heater on, turn it on right now. Third mile. Ignore all shadows in the trees, no matter how human they may seem or how distracting they are. Fourth mile. Ignore all voices, no matter how human they may sound or how convincing they are to you. Fifth mile. Ignore the vanishing of both the trees and the environment. Sixth mile. Your radio will turn on. Do not turn it off. Ignore it as best as you can. Seventh mile. Ignore all voices, especially if they're coming from your back seat. Eighth mile. Your headlight may flicker, or the lights of the road poles may flicker. If the car headlights are flickering, do not try to fix the flickering headlights. Simply ignore it and keep moving no matter what. Ninth mile. Your vehicle may stall. Close your eyes as hard as you can and keep looking forward. Try not to start your car back up. Do not open your fucking eyes, no matter what. 10th mile. Under any circumstances, do not look in the rearview mirror unless if you want to face certain death. 11th mile. This is the final mile. If you have reached this far, unlike most other people, then you are at extreme luck and possess no fear. Your vehicle may lose power, but continue to move. If this happens, don't open your goddamn eyes. Do not fucking open them. No matter what voices you hear in your head, no matter how hot or cold it is, do not open your eyes. When the power returns, you may open your eyes. You will see an old-fashioned buildings and a brick wall that will prevent you from going ahead. Stop your car. Remember to say your wish. After saying your wish, if you wish for an object, you will find yourself in front of your house, inside the same car. Check the trunk and the back seats. what you wished might be there. If your wish is not a physical object, it may happen in 29 to 30 days. If you wished for true love, you will see rose petals falling on your car. If you wish to get really high grades in every single subject, you will see that as well. Play this game. Feel the fright and feel great when you realize you've gotten what you really wanted. If it is big, you will find it in your trunk. If it is medium, you will find it in your back seat. If it is small, you will find it in your pocket." Unquote. Overall, a pretty interesting ritual. Red Book / Bible game. So this one is relatively simple, with the instructions for it going as follows. Quote, "Sit in a dark room, close your eyes, and place a hand over a closed red book. State, 'Red Book, can I enter your game?' Flip to any page and put your finger on a random sentence. Leave room for interpretation when reading the message. If the message appears evil or says no in some way, stop the game. If the message is positive and welcomes conversation, you may ask another question. Repeat steps 4 through 7. When finished, make sure to say, 'Red Book, can I leave your game?' Say goodbye." Unquote. That's the basic game. Kind of like a Magic 8 Ball, but with a book. I've also heard of a variation of this game where you can do the same thing, but ask God for an answer to a question, or pray to God for an answer to some struggle in your life. Then you close your eyes, flip open the Bible, and place your finger on a random part of the page and see what it says. And I suppose, in theory, you could play this game with nearly any book, really too, but yeah, the closet. Now this one is kind of interesting, mainly because the sole purpose of this ritual is to trap a demon in your closet forever. Now why you would ever want to fucking do this is kind of beyond me, but nevertheless, this is how the ritual works. Wait until it's dark into the night, and then walk into your closet with the lights turned off, with a match in your hand. Shut the door behind you. Then you must wait in silence for 2 minutes. Once you've done that, say the words, "Show me the light," or "Leave me in darkness." You'll then be waiting again. If you wait for some time and hear nothing, exit the closet and do not turn around if you do not hear anything. However, if you wait long enough and do start to hear voices, noises in your closet, something inhuman in there, light your match immediately and then exit the closet. Once again, do not turn around. Exit the closet and shut the door without looking back. Congratulations, you have just summoned a demon as a permanent residence in your closet to watch you every night as you sleep, with no way to get rid of it or access your clothes or whatever was in your closet, I guess. So have fun with that. The Dark Reflection Ritual. This is another one of those ritual pastas from the Creepypasta Wiki. So with that in mind, let's give it a read, shall we? Quote, "Here's what you'll need to do this ritual. A mirror of any type, a candle of any size or color, friends to do it with. Optional but highly suggested. I should probably warn you, once you begin this ritual, there is no way to stop it. What I'm saying is, don't start it unless you are planning to finish it. Have you ever broken a mirror by accident or on purpose? Have you ever looked into a mirror and felt like there was something watching you from the other side, or seen something sinister lurking within the eyes of your own reflection? You've probably heard the legend that breaking a mirror is 7 years of bad luck. Legends about mirrors have been around for hundreds of years. In particular, some ancient civilizations believed that there was some sort of purifying effect to mirrors. They believed that by looking in one's reflection in the eyes, it would transfer a person's negative energy into the reflection in the mirror. They believed that this had a cleansing effect, but also hidden dangers. That's why breaking a mirror has been known to cause bad luck. Think about it. If this is true, then every time you look in a mirror, you are transferring negative energy into it. Can you imagine how much negative energy is just sitting there inside your bathroom mirror? When you break the mirror, that negative energy is released and causes bad luck for everyone around it. For this ritual to work, you will need a mirror that you don't mind breaking. According to the manifesto, both the risk and the eventual reward of this ritual are stronger depending on how old the mirror is. It makes sense if you think about it. An old mirror has been looked into more, and therefore has more negative energy inside it. In order to begin the ritual, you must look your reflection in the eyes, transferring your negative energy into the mirror one last time. You need to do this for a few seconds. Then you need to lean forward and breathe into the mirror, making it fog up with your breath. My sources refer to this as anointing the mirror with your breath. At first, you might find this strange, but do a little digging and I think you'll find that the word breath once meant something similar to spirit. By breathing on the mirror, you are symbolically linking yourself to the mirror and to the negative energy contained inside. This linking is critical to the success of the ritual. Everyone in the group needs to do this step as well before moving on to the next one. After this is completed, you can light the candle. Use the candle to burn the mirror. This agitates the negative energy inside. You only need to do this for a few seconds, or until there is a noticeable black mark on the mirror. Note that the longer you do this for, the more agitated the negative energy will become. After this, the final step is breaking the mirror. Once this step is done, I suggest you start running. You see, it's actually a common misconception that when a person breaks a mirror, they will be followed by bad luck. This is not true. When the mirror is broken, the bad energy stays in one spot near the broken mirror until it eventually dissipates. Or at least, normally it does. If you completed the steps above, then you have tied yourself to the negative energies through the medium of your breath. This means that the negative energies will pursue you wherever you go. This is why I said earlier that it would be best to complete this ritual with a group. If there's only one person doing this ritual, then all the negative energy will pursue that one person. But if there's a group, then the negative energy will be spread more thinly. This increases your odds of survival. Bad luck will follow you throughout the night. At first, it will start out in small incidents. A chipped nail or a flat tire. The incidents will begin to escalate through and increasingly horrific things begin to happen around you. Eventually, these incidents will become life-threatening, no matter how many people you did the ritual with. Like I said, don't start this ritual unless you're planning to finish it. The only piece of advice I can give you for surviving the night is to remember that the negative energy is linked to you through your breath. Your breath is how the negative energy detects you, and so, if you find yourself in a bad situation, try holding your breath. This should make you temporarily invisible to it. Of course, you can only hold your breath for so long. Still, this technique might provide you with a few extra seconds to get out of a dangerous situation. At this point, you're probably asking yourself, why on earth would anyone ever engage in this ritual? Why would anyone ever risk their life like this? Well, most people who try this probably didn't think that it would actually work, but there is a reason beyond that. The bad luck will chase you throughout the night. But if you manage to survive until dawn, not only will you find that your run of foul luck has ended, but that a new streak of good luck is about to begin. The first slice of dawn have a special purifying property. If you survive until the morning, then the negative energy inside the mirror will be purified and will re-enter your body, filling you to the brim with positive energy. After this, everything will seem to go your way. You'll find that people are generally nicer to you, and that the opposite sex are extremely attracted to you, or the same sex if that's your thing. You will succeed at everything you do, whether it be a job interview, an important exam, or a business venture. I would highly suggest buying a lottery ticket. It should be noted that the amount and duration of the good luck will be equivalent to the amount of negative energy that was in the mirror. If you just bought the mirror at the store, then the good luck will only last a couple days. It will not be all that severe. If you use an old mirror though, then your lucky streak will be far more powerful and may last for months or even years. If you use a mirror that has a more personal connection to you, such as a bathroom mirror or a mirror in your bedroom, then the good fortune you experience will be more suited to your particular tastes and desires. One more thing I should probably warn you about is the timing of the ritual. The ritual needs to be started after sunset and with at least 6 hours until dawn. Two common tricks that people try to use in regards to this ritual are starting during the daytime and starting a few minutes before dawn. Starting near dawn is probably the least dangerous of these little cheats. If you start near the dawn, the negative energy will not have enough time to fully manifest before being purified. The energy will then simply dissipate into the air rather than doing anything, and you will probably walk away thinking it was all a gigantic hoax. Starting during the day is more dangerous. People start during the day thinking that the daylight will instantly nuke the bad energy and keep them safe. This is not true. Notice that I said that it was the lights of dawn that have a purifying power, not the light of day. By starting during the day, you actually give the bad luck more time to pursue you and thus decrease the odds of survival significantly. You know, a lot of people might call you stupid or crazy for trying to attempt this ritual. I wouldn't though. I can understand the thinking that goes into it. I can understand wanting to take control of your luck, both good and bad, rather than accepting the seemingly random twists and turns that life seems to throw at us." Unquote. The 10-Day Dream Curse. This one I sourced from an old site called Saya in Underworld, and it goes as follows. Quote, "Warning, if you hear this story, you might end up having the same dream within 3 days. This story is not known to be cursed, but I put this under the curse category just as an extra caution. You will dream for 10 days in succession. Each dream comes with a rule that you must follow. The first day, you will dream that you are sleeping in your room. Then you will notice a girl peeping through the window. The first rule, you must let the girl in. The second day, the girl is inside your room. She is looking downward, and you cannot see her face because of her long hair. She is muttering something. After a while, you realize she is saying, 'Please, please.' The second rule, let her come into the bed and lie down next to her. The third day, you and the girl are lying side by side. You are now able to see the girl's face. Her face is horribly burnt. The third rule, do not cry out when you see her face. The fourth day, you get out of bed. The girl says, 'Let's go to the park.' The fourth rule, take the girl to the nearest park without saying a word. The fifth day, when you arrive at the park, you will notice someone pushing a stroller. You look closely and notice that the mother is a cat and the baby is a dog. The fifth rule, you must kill either one of them. The sixth day, while you are playing with the girl in the park, you will see an airship about to take off. The sixth rule, make sure you get to the airship in time. The seventh day, the airship is full of people who have heard this story just like you. The seventh rule, find a seat for yourself at any cost. The eighth day, after some time, red roses and black roses start raining down on you. The eighth rule, throw out only the black roses from the airship. The ninth day, the airship takes you back to the park. The ninth rule, go home with the girl and lie down in the bed again. The 10th day, you will not know what happens on the 10th day unless you have observed all the rules in the previous days, and you should tell the story to someone while you are awake. Otherwise, you will go back to the first day of the dream forever." Unquote. The Disney Mirror Ritual. This one is all about a ritual that you can only perform at Disney parks, preferably Disney World, and is quite complicated and pretty much impossible to perform. But with that being said, let's give it a read anyway, shall we? Quote, have you ever heard of the Disney Mirror Ritual? Don't be fooled by its name or its location at the happiest place on earth. It's a fairly dangerous ritual, with a high chance of getting caught. Granted, the payoff is fairly high. It is not known why or how this ritual came to be at Disney World. It is said that each of the Disney parks has its own unique ritual, with the same consequences for failure. But the one at Disney World seems to have the most known information. This is a mirror ritual. Mirror mythology is well invoked in Disney stories. Think Beauty and the Beast, Snow White, 1 Hour in Wonderland, and such. I'm sure you might think such a ritual would take place at the Haunted Mansion or one of the spookier rides, but you'd be wrong. The main part of the ritual takes place at Cinderella's castle, roughly the epicenter of the Magic Kingdom. The night part of the ritual must take place between 2 and 4 a.m. To complete the ritual, you will need 3 items: a piece of chalk, a knife that has had its handle broken off. In other words, simply the blade. The type of knife does not matter, but you will have to sneak it in past security. You might want a smaller blade you can conceal in your shoe or other hiding place. A broken shard of mirror, roughly the size of your palm. You might want to find a pre-broken shard if you believe in the superstition of 7 years of bad luck. The ritual begins during daytime hours of the Magic Kingdom section of Disney World. During the day, you must hide the 3 items in separate places of the park. The areas to choose from are Main Street USA, Liberty Square, Fantasyland, Adventureland, Frontierland, and Tomorrowland. Study the map of the park and decide what routes will be easiest to travel undetected. Don't pick distances you can't manage. Keep in mind that the area around Cinderella's castle will be the most heavily patrolled by security. While there are security cameras at the park, don't worry about them. Something about the ritual makes them seem to malfunction. Before hiding the items, head to the tunnel going through Cinderella's castle. Be careful here. There are some Disney staff that are aware of the ritual and know to keep an eye out for those attempting it. Hide the chalk in your hand. Pick out a brick you're able to reach at face level, and when you're absolutely sure no one is watching you. Critical tip, you might want a friend to make a distraction / ask any immediate staff questions to get their attention. Mark the corner of the brick with the chalk. Say the words, "Mirror, mirror," then leave. This will tell the park you intend to play. You'll use this brick during the ritual. Then, find hiding places for the items. At this point, you have completed the daytime part of the ritual. Use the remainder of your time as you will until the park closes. But make sure you find a place you can remain hidden once the park closes for the night. It's not easy, but it has been done. If you decide not to go through with the ritual, retrieve the items, erase the chalk mark, and leave the park. You can only cancel the ritual during the daytime hours. Do not attempt the ritual again. Ever. Do not emerge from your hiding place right after the park closes. It will be full of maintenance workers and patrolling security. Wait until at least an hour after the park closes. But remember, you need to be done before 4 a.m. The security presence will be smaller at that hour, but by no means gone. Watch for the roving security guards as you make your way to your items. Retrieve the mirror shard last, or you will trigger the more dangerous part of the ritual early. If you reach any of your hiding places and the item is gone, run. The park doesn't accept your challenge. You need to reach the entrance and get out, or even get yourself busted by security, which will be a much more preferable fate. Once you retrieve the mirror shard, you will begin the second most dangerous part of the ritual. Security patrols are no longer your concern. They will have mysteriously disappeared or gone dark. You may see a flashlight beam off in the distance, but they will not come close to you. Some chalk this up to magic. Others theorize that completing the steps until this point triggers a parallel dimension of sorts within the park. Regardless of the cause, you have a new concern. Make haste and head towards Cinderella's castle, but once again, try to stay out of sight. Use the mirror shard to look around corners and behind you, and keep the broken blade in your dominant hand. You are on the lookout for figures that have been dubbed the False. The False take the form of Disney mascots you might see during the daytime. Don't be fooled. The paid Disney mascots went home hours ago. It's not exactly hard to tell the difference. Suits worn by these figures will appear filthy, matted, and generally tattered. You would most likely find them lurking around corners, which is why you want to use the mirror first. If you see one of the False in your mirror, take your blade lightly between your fingers and drag it across the reflection on the mirror with the point. This will prompt the figure to move away. However, odds are you will have at least one encounter with a False face to face. They are capable of appearing at will if you are on a straight street or bridge with no turns. Should you see a False at any point not in a mirror reflection, shut your eyes immediately and gently place the mirror shard at your feet, but keep hold of the blade. Remain still with your eyes shut and listen for footsteps and rattling breath. The False will be moving slowly towards you. It will stop at arm's length in front of you and reach. Your only chance to escape is to estimate when it is reaching for you. Then reach out and jab the figure itself with your blade. Do not miss. You won't get a second chance. Miss and you fail the ritual. Consequences of the failure are discussed later. If your aim is true, the False will hiss in pain and begin moving away. When the footsteps are no longer audible, you can open your eyes. Retrieve your mirror, continue your path. Critical tip, your blade will become weaker each time a face-to-face encounter occurs. If your blade breaks, you will be defenseless. The False will know. Keep face-to-face encounters to a minimum. Should you successfully arrive at Cinderella's castle, you will be safe. Find the brick you marked. Take your mirror and hold it to the brick. Trace a chalk outline around the shard. When you pull your hand away, the shard will remain on the surface. Step back and turn around 3 times clockwise. With each turn, say the words "mirror, mirror" with a total of 3 times. Upon completing the 3rd turn, you will face the wall only to see the surface area of the brick has become that of a mirror. Look into the mirror and you will see the faint outline of a clouded face. Here is where the goal of the ritual comes into play. Make sure you choose the question beforehand. The face will slowly say past, present, future. To choose, nod your head after the mirror says the one you want. If you nod for past, the mirror will show you the answer to a question regarding the past. It can range from a personal mystery from your own past to a historical mystery, such as who killed JFK. For present, you can ask to be shown a solution to a problem currently plaguing you, or an issue the world currently faces. Future, needless to say, will show you the future outcome yet to pass. Ask the mirror your question, and watch your long-awaited answer. Once you have your answer, step away from the mirror again. Turn around 3 times, now in a counterclockwise direction. Again, with each turn, say the words mirror mirror for a total of 3 times. Upon completing the 3rd turn, the mirror will be gone, and so will the shard. The castle has taken it as tribute. Leave the castle and head back to your hiding place. On your way, drop the blade into the moat surrounding the castle. Keep hold of the chalk. You need not worry about being caught by security or any false at this point. The park respects your accomplishment and will allow you to temporarily safe passage safely. However, do not take this gesture as an excuse to linger or explore. This will be taken as arrogance or an insult, and your protection will be revoked. Simply head back to your initial hiding spot as quickly as you can. When you return to the hiding place, draw a circle of chalk around you. If in a location with a door, draw a half circle around the door on the floor. Remain hidden until the morning when the park opens and the visitors have been let back in. Critical tip: do not fall asleep. Do not respond to any voices or footsteps you may hear, no matter how close the sound gets to you. If you are hiding in a place with a door, do not react to knocks, no matter how frantic they become. You will remain safe if you stay awake and quiet. Most important of all, do not follow along if you hear a Disney song being played. This includes singing, humming, or even following the song in your mind. Cover your ears with your hands and don't let the song get stuck in your head. The following day, once you know visitors have begun entering the park, leave your hiding spot and immediately head for the exit of the park. Do not stop to do anything. Just leave. Drop the chalk at the entrance. And once you have left, never return to Disney World. Ever. The park knows you, and your welcome has worn out. Now the part that has yet to be discussed is what happens if you fail the ritual. Should you be caught by the false during the item retrieval, linger too long outside your hiding place after completing the night ritual, or answer to the voices or knocks before morning, should one of the false place their hand on you, you will lose the ability to move freely. If you return to the park after successfully completing the ritual, you will encounter a false that no one else will appear to see. In any case, they will slowly lead you to the entrance of the park. You can walk away then, but no matter where you go or what you do during the night, the next day you will find yourself at the entrance of the park once again, only you will once again have no control over your actions. As if in a hypnotic trance, you will move towards your fate. Perhaps you will find yourself on a ride with non-functioning seat restraints, only to be thrown out onto the tracks, walking on the above-ground monorail tracks with an incoming train behind you, on the riverboat that flips into water not made for swimming, in the path of an upcoming parade float. Whatever the fate the happiest place on earth has for you, rest assured, it won't involve a happily ever after. Unquote. So yeah, this one's really not much of an actual ritual that you could realistically do, but is nonetheless a pretty interesting creepypasta. Daruma-san / The Bath Game. Starting the 3rd tier off, this ritual originates from Japan and is quite disturbing, I must say. And as noted from the Hide and Go Kill wiki, quote, "The Bath Game, formerly known as Daruma-san, is an old game summoning a ghost from a bathtub that follows you all day. Playing Daruma-san can result in bad things happening to you, even death. Starting the game. Before you go to bed, take off all your clothes, enter the bathroom, fill up the bathtub, and turn out all the lights. Sit in the middle of the bathtub while facing the faucet/tap. Close your eyes and wash your hair. As you wash your hair, you should repeat the words, Daruma-san fell down, Daruma-san fell down. Do not stop repeating this until you finish washing your hair. Your eyes must remain shut. As you wash your hair, you will picture a Japanese woman standing in the bathtub. She will slip and fall onto a rusty tap, gouging her eye out, killing her. You will hear a sound coming from behind you, or feel movement in the bath. Do not turn around or peek. You have finally summoned the ghost. You will feel her presence as she emerges out of the bathtub. Ask out loud, why did you fall in the bathtub? You can finally get out of the bathtub, and make sure your eyes remain shut. Make sure not to slip or trip to get out of the bathtub. Do not drain the water until next morning. Shut the door behind you. It is now safe to open your eyes. Keep the water in the bathtub until morning. Do not turn on any lights. Go to bed. The woman is a ghostly figure that will follow you all day. She wears a tattered and stained white clothes with black hair. She only has one eye. Her left eye is a wide open bloodshot. Her right eye is missing, just leaving a bloody hollow eye socket. When you wake in the morning, the game will begin. Your day will begin normal until you will feel the presence of the one-eyed woman glancing over your right shoulder. When you turn around, she will not be there. She will get closer and closer as the day goes on. Do not let her catch you. If the one-eyed woman is getting too close, you should shout, "Tomere!" which means stop. Then run away fast. This will put distance between you and the woman. You must end the game before midnight, or else she will keep stalking you and appear in your dreams to kill you. To end the game, you must catch a glimpse of the one-eyed woman and shout, "Kita!" which means, "I cut you loose," while swinging your arm in a chopping motion. The game will end, and the one-eyed woman won't follow you anymore. Some final rules to remember is do not open your eyes when the ghost first appears. Do not let the one-eyed woman trip you when you leave the bathtub. Do not re-enter the bathroom after you leave. Do not drain the bath until morning. Do not let the one-eyed woman catch you. Unquote. A date with her. As per quoted from the Reddit post detailing this ritual, look, we all have one question we really want answered. But before you start this ritual, you must be very sure. There are many directions and even the slightest misstep could be life-threatening. I heard of this ritual from my uncle, a strong believer in the paranormal. In case anyone was wondering, yes, he tried it. No, he didn't die or get possessed. Probably because he was successful. Anyway, if you would like to try, or if you're like me and just like reading these things for the heck of it, read on. I am not responsible for any harm this ritual may cause to your well-being. You will need a birdhouse and strong glue, 5 mirrors, 5 drops of scented essential oil, lipstick, solid, candy, a pen and a sticky note, a nice outfit, and duct tape. Step 1. Preparation. Take your birdhouse apart. Make sure you remember which side is which. Attach a mirror to every side except the one with the opening. Check that the mirrors are held very securely. With the lipstick, draw a table and 2 chairs on the mirror on the back of the birdhouse. It does not need to be detailed, but no harm will come from you making it detailed. Again, using the lipstick, draw a simple instrument in the mirror to the left. It does not need to be detailed. It may be any instrument. Use the lipstick again to draw any type of food on the mirror to the right. Remember it. It will come in handy later. Once again, it does not need to be detailed. And it may be any food so long as you're not allergic. Do not draw anything on the top or bottom mirror. If you accidentally mix up sides, do not proceed. You may try again anytime, but you must buy new lipstick, new mirrors, and a new birdhouse. Add 4 drops of essential oil to the bottom mirror. Put the birdhouse back together and put the candy through the hole. Cover the opening with duct tape. Within an hour of the birdhouse being fixed, note, if the birdhouse collapses during this step, no harm will come to you, but do not proceed. On your sticky note, write "open." Do not write anything else. Place your sticky note above the taped opening. You are done with the birdhouse preparation at this point. Before you go to sleep that night, place the birdhouse and the outfit under your bed. If your significant other normally sleeps with you, make sure they sleep somewhere else. If you sleep on something without and under a mattress/drawer bed, it's probably best that you don't perform the ritual. Fold the outfit nicely. You don't want any wrinkles. Note, make sure the outfit contains undergarments. Ensure that no animals will disturb the birdhouse. Turn off the lights and go to sleep anywhere between 8 p.m. and 12 a.m. If you need to, take melatonin. If you are not asleep by then, don't fret, nothing bad will happen. Step 2. The dream. If everything is done correctly, you will dream of yourself at the entrance of a bustling restaurant. My uncle remarked that it reminded him of Tiana's palace in The Princess and the Frog. This is your first chance to turn back. If you wish to end the ritual, close your eyes and walk away from the restaurant. You will wake up, but do not look look under your bed or move away from your bed until 6 a.m. At 6 a.m., burn the birdhouse. If you choose to proceed, congratulations, you're one of the brave ones. You will walk into the restaurant and a woman will be waiting for you. How will you know if it is her? She will be the most beautiful woman you have ever laid your eyes on. She will walk up to you and ask if you are her date. Respond yes, and you will be seated. Respond no, and you will end the ritual. Refer to the same procedure as before. Note, there will be other people in the restaurant, but they will pay no attention to you. Do not try to converse with them. You're here for her, not them. It wouldn't do you much good anyways. You will be led to your seat. The woman will sit down with you, and you may ask her questions. If you feel as if one question is off limits, it is best you don't ask. I won't spoil the rest. That's for you to find out. Make sure you add a bit of small talk in between each question. She dislikes being used for information. Somewhere in between questions, the waiter will ask you what you would like. You must order the food you chose to draw on the mirror. You may order any drink you like. This restaurant carries it all. It is unknown whether she orders the same thing each time or if her choices vary. My uncle didn't specify what she ordered. Eat your food. You may ask questions as you eat, but be polite and use proper table manners. If you dislike the food, bear through it. You must eat at least 2/3. Do not ask for seconds. Step 3. Ending the ritual. When you are done, tell her that you had a nice time, but you must go. She will understand. And if she likes you, she will give you a peck on the cheek. Her kiss is said to give good luck for a year. Walk out of the door and close your eyes as you walk forward. You awake sometime past 7 a.m. Burn the birdhouse. But unless you have angered her, you do not need to hurry. She will bear no ill will towards you, and has better things to do than pay you extra visits. Note, do not ask more than 25 questions. Do not ask her name. Do not tell her your full name. If she asks, make one up. Do not order anything other than what you drew. Act scared or intimidated. Ask her anything considerably taboo. Do not let her touch you before she decides to give you the kiss. To make it simple, do not let her touch you before you bid her farewell. If she attempts to reach across the table, tell her no, but do not make a scene. She will understand. And do not perform the ritual more than once. A few red flags to look out for. If the restaurant's lights are not lit up and it seems to be closed. If you do not see a woman. You see the woman, but she is wearing black and or tattered clothes. You see multiple women. You are told you must wait more than 5 minutes for an available table. You are seated at a table with people already at it. The lights go out. You offend her. She excuses herself to the bathroom for more than 10 minutes. She does not order anything. The waiter informs you that they are out of your chosen food. The other customers begin staring at you. She gives you a kiss anywhere but the cheek or forehead. Do not proceed if any of the following should happen. Now, concerning the woman, no one knows who she really is, but she is considered universally beautiful. Her personality is said to be very mysterious, and she can be angered very easily. That is what makes this ritual so dangerous. It should be noted that the entity is not truly a woman, but prefers to appear as one and be addressed as one. And concerning the danger level, as long as you can easily follow rules, nothing should go wrong for you. However, if something goes at least the tiniest bit wrong, and you still proceed, well, don't say I didn't warn you." Unquote. The Bottomless Pit Ritual. As per quoted from the r/NoSleep Reddit post, let me start by saying this is not for the faint of heart. This ritual is slightly difficult and requires a certain amount of precision. I really wouldn't recommend doing this if you have a heart condition or any kind of medical condition that would be triggered by fear, panic, high blood pressure, etc. I did this and, well, I don't know if I should have. But we're far beyond that now. I'll share the details later. Here's the setup and instructions. This ritual must be performed in the very middle of the night. Note this varies day to day and is one of the reasons it stuck out to me. There's no magic hour during the night. It is simply halfway between sunset and sunrise. Find a place in your house where you won't be interrupted and is as dark as you can make it. Keep the door shut. This is very important, as a spirit that is summoned cannot pass through a closed door. If the door is opened after you summon the spirit, it can now go throughout your house and would be pissed, as you didn't close the ritual properly. However, there is one safeguard. I'll get to that in a minute. You also need a Bible. Open the Bible to Revelation 9. Keep it open on the ground to your right. You will need a candle, matches, or a lighter. The candle will be placed in front of you. You can have the candle lit while you situate yourself. You need a small cup of warm water, not too hot to drink, but it must be warm. You will need a watch, or something that tells time. This must be accurate within the minute. Lastly, and this is the most disturbing part, you need a small drop of your blood. A needle prick will be fine, but make sure it's fresh blood. The drop of blood goes into the glass of warm water. I strongly do not recommend using anyone else's, or anything else's blood. I'm not sure what you would summon if you did use blood that was not your own, but in the event the spirit gets out of the room, or if the ritual goes bad and you want out ASAP, drink the cup with the water and your drop of blood. The spirit is tied to this, and it will be banished back to where it came from. Gross, I know, but you won't need to do this. Granted, everything goes right. So in recap, gather the items you need about 5 minutes before the very middle of the night, to the minute. Go ahead and light your candle, then shut the door and turn the lights off. Sit down on the floor, place the candle in front of you, open the Bible to Revelation 9, keeping it open and place to your right. Drop a small drop of your blood into a cup of warm water, place it to your left. As soon as your watch or time teller strikes the very minute that is the middle of the night, turn it off so it is not producing any light, and say aloud, "I offer my blood to the bottomless pit," then blow out your candle. If your blood is accepted, within minutes you will start to see a very faint glow. The color of the glow typically tells you what you have summoned. From what I have read, the color ranges from orange to dark red, and supposedly the color can even be green. Orange is some kind of hell-dwelling animal, or person from the past that is in hell now. Red is typically a demon. If it is a very dark red, you have probably summoned a powerful demon, or maybe even Lucifer himself. Warning, the closer you are to the winter solstice, the more likely you are to summon a darker entity. Green is still a bit of a mystery, though it is debated that this is not a spirit from the bottomless pit. Some argue that green represents its generosity, or it could be protecting you from the opening of the bottomless pit. Others say it is the guise from a demon that is about to scam you. Once you have seen the color, brace yourself. You will feel the bottomless pit open. People report that they have felt heat so hot that it actually singed their hair. Others say shrieks and cries from people trapped in hell echoed through their minds. Some even have said they heard their dead relatives pleading to them to be saved. Most typically, you feel this in your chest. Your room shakes, your heart pounds, and the whispers of the dead and demons surround you. Hold firm to your sanity. It is trying to break you. This will pass shortly, and all will be silent again. Then the spirit will be with you in the room. Once you can truly feel the entity in your room, say firmly, "I," state your name, "have summoned you." Remember, be strong. Don't sound afraid, or you will likely be toyed with by the spirit. The spirit will respond asking you what you want. At this point, you can ask the spirit for a gift. Could be money, fame, a promotion, even love. Or you could inquire knowledge of the future. This is where you exchange some kind of deal with the spirit. The lesser spirits, orange glows, are milder. They may not grant your request to the magnitude you're hoping for. For example, you ask for money in exchange for the common cold. They might make you sick, or someone you love sick. If it is your elderly grandmother, well, this could mean the end for her, so be careful. If you summon a person from hell, they most likely simply ask that you open the door. I don't recommend that you do this. However, if you do, quickly open the front door to your house as well, so the spirit is not lingering in your home. You might get a fantastic gift of little to no consequence. The demons, or red spirits, require a greater payment. I'll let your imagination run wild with that idea. The demons will also try to convince you to open the door. Do not do this. Please, keep your wits about you. They will be messing with your mind. If you summon a green spirit, your guess is as good as mine. Be smart. When your deal has been met, say your presence is no longer required. Remember, stay in control. Don't thank them. Don't show any kind of weakness. Touch the water. It should no longer be warm to the touch. This tells you that the spirit has left. Now say, "I," state your name, "close the bottomless pit," and shut your Bible. The ritual is now over. You can dump the drop of blood and water down the sink. It is no longer required. Congratulations, you made it. Now for my story. I performed this ritual on December 18th, 2017. I got everything ready and shut myself in my room. I lit my candle, turned off the light, opened my Bible, and pinpricked my right index finger. Once I squeezed a drop of blood into the water, I put a band-aid on my finger. As soon as my phone said it was the middle of the night, I shut it off. And then I said the words and blew out my candle. I sat quietly in darkness for about 5 minutes. Then the faintest glow of red appeared a few feet from me. I could not tell where it was coming from. Then my body jolted without my control. I heard a short but intense shriek. The shriek was certainly not human. Then the whispers echoed through my mind. I was scared. I wanted to just run out of the room. I held on to my better judgment and just stayed put. Finally, everything calmed, and the faint red glow remained. I said, my name, have summoned you here. I heard a chilling whisper reply, "What do you want?" While this exchange happened, there was a voice in my mind telling me to open the door. I had to concentrate on the situation to overpower it. I asked for great wealth. I heard a scoff and felt a rush of wind, as if the spirit moved around my room. When I stopped moving, I could feel it staring at me, inches from my face. I could feel its warm breath on my face. I didn't really notice a smell, thankfully. I then felt my heart pound. The spirit simply responded, 10 years. I replied, 10 years of what? Then the scariest moment happened. It felt like there was a hand pinching my heart, and I heard to my right side a whisper say, "Your life." I started sweating really badly, trying to keep control of myself. I had to think about this. My family history is very healthy. My grandparents all lived into their 90s, so I felt this wasn't too much of a risk. I took the deal. I said, "Granted." Then I felt a rush of wind all around me, and the pinch of my heart got stronger for a moment. Then it was all gone. I closed the ritual properly and went to bed. The next week I received a very sizable Christmas bonus. Since then I've been receiving quite a few bonuses at work and even a promotion. Honestly, I couldn't believe it worked. I am one of the 5 grandchildren, and I am not the oldest. My grandmother passed in March of 2018 and left me with a much greater inheritance than my siblings, and even my own mother, her daughter. But that is not all I have gotten. Over the last couple months, my health has been getting worse. Flu-like symptoms every couple weeks, and the scariest part is that pinch on my heart has been happening randomly. Some nights it wakes me up, and I am nearly in tears. And no, it's not heartburn. I've seen several doctors, all of which have said there's nothing wrong with me. My ECGs came back with nothing abnormal. The doctors have told me to exercise and take vitamins to build my immune system, but I am terrified. I think I may have gambled too much. I've been thinking about doing the ritual again, to see if I can gamble my 10 years back, or more. But at what cost? This time. Unquote. The elevator game. This one has gotten rather famous, and once again originates from Japan. It got famous not only for it being rather creepy and a bizarre, and I suppose unique ritual, but also because of the mysterious death of Elisa Lam. There are a lot of good videos detailing Elisa Lam's tragic death, and how no one really knows or has a conclusive answer as to how or why she ended up dead in one of the 4 of the Stay on Main Hotel 1000 gallon water footage was taken, and that it ultimately was the game that made her end up with the fate that she was found in. This is of course silly and not true, but nonetheless, this made this ritual in particular get quite popular, as the urban legend only grew. So with that being said, what is the elevator game ritual? Well, the purpose of the game is to bring you to another world, and the instructions for said game reads as follows. Quote, "You will need at least 1 person, but can be played with more, a public building with at least 10 floors, and an elevator. To start the game, the player or players need to enter the elevator. Press the 4th floor. Do not proceed if someone enters the elevator or one of the players leaves the elevator. If someone does, start from the beginning. Press the 2nd floor. Do not proceed if someone enters the elevator or one of the other players leaves the elevator. If someone does that, then start from the beginning. Again, do note that this will be a rule for quite a while until noted otherwise. Then press the 6th floor. Then back to the 2nd floor. Press the 10th floor. Press the 5th floor. If a woman enters the elevator at the 5th floor, do not look at her. Do not speak, and don't talk to her. That woman is not human. If you do, she will decide to keep you for her own. Press the 1st floor. The elevator will then ascend or descend. If the elevator reaches the 1st floor, leave and do not look back. If the elevator reaches the 10th floor, leave and do not respond to the woman if she asks, "Where are you going?" or what's wrong. Her voice will be high when she asks that. You are now in the other world. If you're alone, you are in the other world. Electronics will not work in the other world. The other world is identical to our world, but the two differences you will see are, all the lights will be off, and the only thing you will be able to see from the windows is a red cross in the distance. To go back to our world, you must go to the same elevator and press the same buttons, only if you leave the 10th floor. That button order is 4, 2, 6, 2, 10, 5. When you reach the 5th floor, press the button for the 1st floor. The elevator will then begin to ascend to the 10th floor. Press any other floor button to cancel the ascension. You must press the button used to cancel the ascension before it reaches the 10th floor. After you reach the 1st floor, check your surroundings carefully. If anything seems off, even the smallest bit, do not exit the elevator. If you detect something wrong, repeat step 2 until your surroundings look as they should. Once you're confident you have returned to your own world, you may safely exit the elevator. Only people that leave at the 10th floor will go to the other world. Getting back to your own world may be more difficult than it seems. You may become disoriented and forget which elevator in which you arrived. The elevator may seem to get further and further away from you as you walk towards it, and so on. Be vigilant and keep your wits about you. If at any point during the ritual you faint, pass out, or otherwise lose consciousness, you will likely wake up in your own home. However, be sure to carefully examine your surroundings upon waking. The home to which you have been returned may not be the one you left when you first set out to attempt this ritual. Some other tips. You must not, in any case, attempt to do this too many times. This makes you susceptible to accidental slipping through the worlds. If you do not get out of the elevator on the 10th floor, or if the woman does not get in, you should head straight back to the 1st floor. If you faint in the other world and find yourself back in your world, be careful. You can be pulled there and back at any given moment. This also happens to people with susceptible souls." Unquote. So yeah, pretty unique and interesting ritual overall. The Tails Doll Curse. Now this one is pure silliness, but very nostalgic to me, primarily because besides Bloody Mary, this was one of the first ritual-based anythings, and probably one of the first creepypastas of any sort that I'd ever come across as a kid. I have a lot of fun memories attempting the Tails Doll Ritual, or Tails Doll Curse, with my siblings back in the day. All that being said, there are quite a few versions of this urban legend, with different rules, all of which being pretty easy, mind you, and all having to do with this random bonus unlockable character called Tails Doll from the Sega Saturn game Sonic R, who, many have pointed out, moves in a kind of creepy fashion, and some of the official renders of him seem a little bit off, to say the least. Needless to say, though, let's quickly read through some of these short classic ritual pastas, shall we? Quote, "Ever played Sonic R? Possibly a small percent of you have heard of the Tails Doll. Here's one of the stories I have heard from my close friend. A man came home with a gift for his son. He had picked up a new video game for him, Sonic R. It was a racing game, and when he gave his son the gift, he was so excited to get it and play it right away. That night he played the game with his son, and they had a great time. A couple of days later, the boy was almost finished with the game. His dad was there in his room when he beat the last boss, and he roared in excitement when he finally did it. He smiled and asked him how he liked the game as he watched the credits screen. What's that?" he asked the boy when the Tails Doll appeared on the screen. The boy said it was the Tails Doll. That was all he knew. He told his son it was time for bed. During the night, the curious father went into the boy's room and turned on the TV very quietly to play the game for a while for himself. He noticed that he now had the option to play as Tails Doll. He chose him to tag up with some of the gang. The game was fun until he tagged him up with Sonic. The screen went black when the game system shut itself down. The man decided it was time for him to go to sleep since he had work in the morning. So he crept out of his son's room and went to lay in bed with his wife. At around 2 a.m., he woke up when he heard thumps on his door. He assumed it was his son getting up to ask him to get something. He told the boy to stop, go back to bed. The thumping kept happening, and at one point he noticed a little shadow coming from under the door. Tails kept popping into his head. He got out of bed and slowly opened the door. Then he heard someone say this very softly, "You are coming with me forever." It was a doll. An evil, blood-covered, possessed little doll. It was the doll from the game. It had to be, unquote. Yeah, that's unironically one of the more popular Tales doll creepypastas. But with that in mind, that was actually considered one of the rituals in which you play a game of tag in the Sonic R game as the Tails doll and then catch all the characters, and that will summon him to, like, come and get you in the night. But for a little bit of a more familiar, clear-cut ritual instructions, we have this much shorter one here. Quote, "Once upon a time, there was a little boy who lived in California and loved to play the Sonic R video game on the Sega Saturn console. Apparently the video game was cursed. He had unlocked Tails Doll in the game. He played a game mode called Tag Race and used Tails Doll to tag Tails, Metal Sonic, Metal Knuckles, and Super Sonic. That night, his TV froze and he saw Tails Doll on the screen going back and forth. He jumped out and killed the poor little kid. How to do the Tails Doll curse. Go to the bathroom and turn off the lights. Go to YouTube and view Can You Feel the Sunshine backwards. Then, Living in the City backwards. There will be a red light in the mirror." Unquote. Note that some versions of the curse say that you need to do the tag game first. Others say you just have to do the ritual in the bathroom, and some say that you need to actually do both to summon the Tails doll. But regardless, why don't we try it out for ourselves for old time's sake?
Not sure how well you can hear it out there, but we've got that music playing full fucking blast at the moment. So, let's wait and see what happens.
A few minutes later.
So, I've been sitting here for about 3 minutes or so, and yeah, nothing's happened. No Tails doll, no evil red orb here to get me, and you can probably hear back there that the music just stopped, or I guess something new is playing. Yeah, we're done. But ritual's finished. There is one where you're supposed to play Living in the City backwards, which you can probably hear in the background is just the normal one playing right now. But I think we've more than done enough.
Bed of Sorrow. According to the Whisper in the Dark WordPress site, this ritual is to, quote, "cleanse yourself of grief and sorrow or emotional pain. This may help some people, but I should warn you that you cannot expect games to help with serious emotional issues, and instead, you should consider therapy or some other suitable coping mechanism. I am extremely wary of posting games and people expecting it as some magic cure, all for something serious. So bear that in mind," unquote. Whoa, you mean all my problems can't be solved by summoning fuck-ass the wish-granting rape demon? Well, that's disappointing. Anyway, here's the instructions. Quote, "You need to locate an abandoned house that has a room with a locked red door. The house doesn't have one. Move on. This isn't the house for you. Plenty of fish/houses in the sea, or whatever. This seems to be one of those games that implies that if it is the time to play it, things will work out. Knock twice on the locked door, and then attempt to open it. If it remains locked, abandon the game. Within will be a windowless room with a single bed in its center. The bed should have red sheets. If all is detailed above, then you now have to make a choice whether to continue or leave. If you wish to leave, you may do so now without experiencing any ill effects, but you may never return to the house. If you choose to continue, then you should lie down upon the top of the sheets. When you are ready, close your eyes and wait. You must remain motionless and keep your eyes closed during whatever happens next. Eventually, any activity will cease and you will hear a voice whisper, 'It is done.' As soon as you hear these words, you should get up and leave the room, closing the door behind you without looking back or speaking. Should you encounter any sort of figure in red on your journey home, do not interact with it and run home as fast as you can. If the figure is in white, then do not run, but instead proceed home at a brisk brisk walking pace. Go to bed immediately and sleep. If these steps have been done correctly, you should feel better for up to 7 days. If you have not completed these steps correctly, then you may feel worse and will continue to do so until the ritual is properly completed. However, the next time you return to the house, the red door may not be so easily found." Unquote. Suji-ura. This one is very popular in Japan, with the main idea of it being to have your fortune told to you. To play the game, you'll need a comb, a veil, and a crossroad. Then you'll want to go through the crossroad at full dark in the night. Run your fingers through the teeth of the comb to make a sound. Chant the following 3 times. Suji-ura, Suji-ura, grant me a true response. Wait for a stranger to appear. Be patient. It cannot be anyone you already know. When you see them, you must cover your face with a veil. Anyone with you should do likewise. Ask the stranger to tell your fortune. If they refuse, remove whatever is covering your face and wait for someone else. Several notes of warning are also given, with it often being said that powerful spirits lurk at crossroads, with some urban legends even connecting deals with the devil having taken place at crossroads. In the past, they were evil places where murderers were buried and people made deals with demons as well. Not to mention, there is a general danger of meeting up with a stranger alone in the dark of the night. Demon or no. That cold, creepy feeling. Quote, there is a simple ritual you may perform if you wish to be granted with the ability to see into the future. You must collect the following items. 3 cuts of satin fabric, 1 in white, 1 in red, and 1 in black. A handheld mirror, a sheet of paper, and a pencil. Once you have the materials, go into your bedroom. It must be your bedroom. This is very important. And close the blinds on all your windows. For the best results, this ritual should be done at midnight. However, you can try any time during the day, and it should work. Sit on the edge of your bed and take out your handheld mirror. Stare into the eyes of your own reflection and recite the following words. Give me this gift in exchange for my sacrifice. Once you are done, place the sheet of paper on the mirror and visualize a single eye open wide. Sketch this onto the center of your paper. Take out your 3 satin cloths and lay them down beside you. Before lifting your sketch from the mirror, say, "The wide eye sees all." Now you may remove the paper from the mirror. An engraving of the picture is now cut into the mirror's surface. Close your eyes and visualize the wide eye in your mind. It will slowly blink once. You will feel a shiver up your spine. It will blink twice. You will hear faint whispers in your ear. Do not open your eyes. It will blink 3 times. You will feel the air around you go completely cold. Without opening your eyes, repeat, "Give me this gift in exchange for my sacrifice." Now you may open your eyes. Look down into the mirror and you will see a pale girl's face over your own reflection. Do not stare into her eyes for longer than 20 seconds. Put the mirror down and take the black satin cloth and lay it over the surface. Say, "Your gift." Next, take the red cloth and lay it over the black one. Say, "My sacrifice." Place the white cloth over the red one and say, "It is done." You will immediately hear a faint mutter in your left ear. Do not touch the mirror again. Leave it where you placed it. Step out of your room and close the door behind you. The next day, you will have the ability to foresee the future. However, such things do not come without a price. Every hour of every day for the rest of your life, you will always hear a constant mutter in your left ear, telling you the date of your death. Unquote. The doors of your mind. And now we have one that is extremely popular. See, many of these rituals are often invented/recounted through the 3 Kings Reddit page, based around, well, the 3 Kings ritual, which we'll be talking about here very shortly. But one of the more interesting elements of this subreddit is that once they create what is called a recipe, that is, the instructions to a ritual, people will then perform said ritual and then recount their stories. Be they fake or real or somewhere in between is ultimately up to you to decide, I suppose. But nonetheless, it adds to the overall atmosphere and intrigue of these rituals. And this one, the Doors of Your Mind, is by far the most popular. So, with that being said, what is this ritual? And how do you perform it? Well, quote, it's pretty simple actually. Nothing as hardcore as the 3 Kings stuff, which I would actually never do myself. But I saw something on here that reminded me of this game I played when I was little. You only need a friend, and maybe a pillow if you'd like that. But the results can be a little surprising, and there are a few warning signs to heed when exploring the doors of your mind. So here we go. Dim the lights and light a few candles. The name of the game is to put you into a nice meditative state. You need to be relaxed and be able to free your mind. This is most important for this to work. So put on some comfy clothes and relax. The only useful door to your mind is an open one. Next, lay your head in your partner's lap. Pillows are always nice. Make sure your head is facing up. Your friend will need to rub both of your temples in slow, circular motions, like a massage. It needs to be relaxing. That is key. Make sure they keep a pretty steady tempo. Much ado about trancing and meditation. Third, this is where your friend will have to guide you, so to speak. Let your mind or imagination do all the work. This entire time your eyes will be closed and you'll be relaying descriptive information to your partner about your surroundings and such. Suggestion: have a third person recording. Never second guess what comes to mind. Simply answer your partner's questions without hesitation as they come to you. Just let it happen. Here's what your helper should start with. You are at one end of a very long corridor. There are numerous doors on both sides of this corridor, spanning the entire length. I want you to explore these doors and the rooms behind them. Describe to me what you can see, hear, touch, and feel in great detail. And from here, the exploration is up to your mind. Tips and warnings. Always pay attention to the door first. This will give you a clue as to what waits for you inside. Note door handles, any imperfections, unusual color, shape, size. Also, the temperature of the door handle may or may not be important. If you go into a room full of clocks, leave immediately. I don't know what the reasoning behind this was. It was years ago, I apologize. All I know is that it was a big deal. You could stay if you wish, but don't say I didn't warn you. You probably shouldn't touch any of the clocks either. Just don't say I didn't warn you. Anybody have an idea why a room full of clocks would be bad? This isn't going to be helpful, but I remember something bad about seeing old ladies too. Anybody have ideas about that as well? Again, this is just stuff that I remember from being a kid. Not all things in your mind are benevolent towards you. I'm pretty sure you know that hanging around here. But I thought I'd remind you, it's good to ask yourself questions. Sometimes these manifested characters can be quite revealing, but other times they can just bring you down. Follow your gut instinct about certain doors. Sometimes curiosity really does kill the cat. Check what's on your person. Describe what you are wearing. Check your pockets. You might have keys, trinkets, anything. You never know. They might be useful in your exploration, or at the very least, symbolic. Be forewarned. I have experienced the inability to remove myself from this dreamlike state. True story, during one of my door sessions, a character locked me in a room, and my sister had to shake me violently to awake me. Happy exploring, unquote. So yeah, pretty interesting ritual, or creative exercise, if nothing else, I suppose. The Three Kings Ritual. This is the original story that helms from 12 years ago under the title of Please Don't Actually Try This, and was the inspiration behind the Three Kings Ritual subreddit, and could also be said to be responsible for many of the rituals and the popularity of some of these over the years. That being said, here is the story. Quote, "Hey, r/no sleep, long time no see. I've been posting bits and pieces of my life here, but I find them a little boring and self-serving. The last one about the juvie incidents was already like 70% made up, to my shame. So today I'll post a recipe instead. This is not a creepypasta, at least not yet, and I'm writing this from a train in the New York City area. What I'm about to share with you today is one of the many relatively safe ways in which you can access, not quite enter, a place I call the shadow side, and its effectiveness depends on how seriously you take it. Your mileage may vary, refer to the title. I won't tell you that you shouldn't be afraid of the shadow side. Chances are you've already seen it after all, and merely think of it as a reoccurring dream. I will tell you there is no need to be ignorantly afraid of it though. There is a difference. Ignorance fuels fear, and fear can give that place a lot of juice to run on. You have to be big on preparation if you want to try this. It's like skydiving. If getting it right on your first try is not something you're good at, then this is not for you. If you do drugs or alcohol, the night of the event, you're going to have a bad time. If you're going through some serious issues in your life and are not feeling mentally or spiritually stable, or if you're doing this just to escape, you're going to have a bad time. And if you don't follow my instructions, particularly the multiple backups I give you, which trust me, are there for a reason, you're going to really have a bad time. The name of this game is The Three Kings, by the way. So, ingredients. You're going to need a very large and empty, quiet room, preferably without windows. If windows exist, you need to be able to cover them and ensure total darkness. Basements usually work well, if they're roomy enough. You'll need a pack of candles. You'll only use one if all goes well, and a lighter, a bucket of water and a mug, a fan, 2 large mirrors, like the ones on your dresser. Don't worry, they won't be harmed, or if they are, it'd be the least of your concerns. 3 chairs, an alarm clock, an active cell phone, a loved one willing to follow the rules and go along with all of this madness, and finally, a small toy or dear object from your childhood. So here's the setup. Start setup at around 11 p.m. Place 1 chair in the center of the room, facing north. This is important. Place the other 2 chairs exactly to the left and right, facing your throne. The distance between your throne and that of your queen and fool should be about the length of your arm to each side, more or less. Place the 2 large mirrors on the queen and fool chairs left and right of you, facing you and each other. Try your best to have them stand at a 90-degree angle, or else you may get more or less than 3 kings. If you sit on your throne facing straight ahead, north, you should be able to perceive your own reflection in each of the 2 mirrors, without actually having to turn your head nor your eyes to do so. If you see your own reflection in the corner of your eye, just barely there, then you've done it right. Place the bucket of water and the mug in front of you, just barely out of reach. Place the fan behind you, turn it on. Don't set it to maximum power. Medium or low is usually enough. Leave it on. Turn off the lights, leave the door open, and go to your bedroom. Set the candles by the side of your bed, next to a lighter, your alarm clock, and your cell phone. Leave it charging. Set your alarm clock for 3:30 a.m. Turn off all the lights and sleep while holding your power object. Get some rest. Showtime. Wake up at 3:30 a.m. with your alarm clock. Turn it off, but don't turn on the light. You have exactly 3 minutes to light your candle, grab your cell phone, and make your way to the dark room to sit on your throne. You should be seated by 3:33 a.m. Don't forget your power object. Check for potential red flags. If your cell phone didn't charge for whatever reason, abort the mission. If the alarm didn't go off exactly at 3:30 a.m., abort the mission. If you find the dark room door closed, remember you left it open, abort the mission. The fan is turned off, you left it on, abort the mission. Side note, if you have to abort the mission due to any of the above, leave the house with your loved one. Go to a hotel or something. There's no need to run, you have time to grab a jacket and your keys and whatnot, but leave. After 6 a.m., the coast should be clear. If all is going as planned, you can proceed and take your throne. Do not look directly at either of the 2 mirrors beside you. Do not let the candle go out. The fan is behind you. You must protect the candle with your body, which is standing in between. There's a reason for this, as you'll soon see. Look straight ahead at the darkness, not at the candle, not at the mirrors, just straight ahead. Eagle-eyed readers surely noticed I didn't say during setup which chair was queen and which chair was fool. That's because it's your job to find out. And from their point of view, you were either their queen or their fool too. Hence, 3 kings. I won't spoil what happens next. Suffice to say, you won't be alone, and if you have questions, you'll get answers. Sometimes in the form of new questions, but hey, that's the story of humanity, huh? Just stay put and try not to move. Again, do not look directly in the mirrors, nor the candle. Just straight ahead. Trust me. Don't chicken out either. You need to wait until 4:34, and by 4:34, it's all over. It's okay to tremble a little bit. Try not to. Not because it affects the ritual or anything. It's just a pussy thing to do. while in polite company. Did I mention not to let the candle go out? That's what the fan is for. You're protecting the candle with your body, but if your body were to be suddenly moved, then the fan would turn off the candle. That's backup number 1. Your loved one is backup number 2. At 4:34, he or she has to come into the room and call your name. That won't work, she has to call your cell phone. If that won't work, she has the glass of water and the bucket. She can't touch you though, that's a newbie mistake. Backup number 3 is your item of power, the toy, or locket, or whatever object of strength you brought alongside for the ride. It'll show you the way if shit hits the fan. Multiple backups. You gotta be like a Boy Scout if you do these things. If you half-ass it all the way so it won't work. Worst you can do is take it seriously enough for it to work, and not seriously enough to be prepared for the consequences. If in doubt, refer to the title. Unquote. So yeah, this one's actually quite the interesting ritual, and I can see why it was so popular and inspired so many. And while I won't go into many of these specific examples and stories that people have shared regarding this one, many have supposedly told stories of the different types of characters that can appear in the 2 mirrors. Some have reported dead relatives appearing in the mirrors. Some have reported an angel and a demon on either side of the mirrors. Some have reported something more ethereal, voices that can't quite be distinguished as to who they may be. And others have theorized and thought upon these voices being that of the shadow and the persona, the subconscious and the conscience. But either way, be the experience spiritual or mental, it is all the same quite creative. The one-man hide-and-seek. Now this one is a classic, and there are even several videos on YouTube from people trying this one out. I mentioned him before in my Creepypasta Iceberg, but if you ever want to watch a kind of older channel try out several of these rituals and so many more, Lupus Creepus really is the one-stop shop for all that. I have fond memories of watching his videos, and though, spoiler, nothing too spooky ever really happens because these rituals don't tend to work, it is nonetheless very interesting and kind of a fun and spooky atmosphere to watch it in the late of the night. But anyway, one-man hide-and-seek is a ritual that originates from Japan and is pretty popular both there and in Korea. The following are the instructions on how to play the game. Quote, the one-man hide-and-seek, aka the one-man tag, is a ritual for contacting the dead. The spirits which are wandering restless on the earth are always looking for bodies to possess. In this ritual, you will summon such a spirit by offering it a doll instead of a human body. Things you'll need: a stuffed doll with limbs, some rice, enough to stuff the doll full of, a needle and a crimson thread, a sharp-edged tool such as a knife, a glass shard, or scissors, a cupful of salt, natural salt would be best, and a hiding place, preferably a room purified by incense and ofuda. Preparation: take all the cotton, or whatever it is stuffed with, out of the doll, and stuff it instead with rice. Then, clip a bit of your nails and put them inside the doll, and sew the opening up with the crimson thread. When you finish sewing, tie up the doll with the rest of the thread. Next, pour water into the bathtub and place a cup of salt water inside the hiding place. Now here's how you do it. Give the doll a name. The name could be anything but your own. When it is 3 a.m., say to the doll, your name is the first it 3 times. Go to the bathroom and put the doll in the water-filled bathtub. Turn off all the lights in the house. Go back to the hiding place and switch on the TV. When you have counted to 10 with your eyes closed, go back to the bathroom with the edge tool in your hand. When you get there, say to the doll, I have found you, doll's name, and stab the doll with the edge tool. Then say, you are next, it, the doll's name, as you put the doll back in its place. As soon as you have put the doll down, run back to your hiding place and hide. How to finish the game. Pour half of the cup of salt water into your mouth. Don't drink it, keep it there, and get out of the hiding place and start looking for the doll. The doll is not necessarily in the bathroom. Whatever happens, don't spit out the salt water. When you find the doll, pour the rest of the salt water, which is left in the cup, over it, and then spray the salt water in your mouth over it as well. Say, I win 3 times. This is supposed to end the ritual. After this, make sure you dry the doll, burn and discard it later. Most important, please don't stop this ritual halfway. You must do it through to the end. This is a dangerous ritual, and I will not be responsible for whatever happens if you try. Some other things to keep in mind. Don't go out of the house until you are done finishing the ritual. You must turn off all the lights. Keep quiet while hiding. You don't need to put the salt water in your mouth all the time. You only need to do it during the finishing ritual. Remember, if you are living with someone, you might put them in danger too. Don't continue this ritual for more than 1 or 2 hours. For safety reasons, it might be best to keep all the doors in the house unlocked, including your front door, and have some friends close by so that they can come and help you at a moment's notice. If you ever need them, keep your mobile close at hand would be a good idea too. Note that the rice represents innards and also has the role of attracting spirits. The crimson thread represents a blood vessel. It sealed the spirits up inside the doll. By cutting the thread, you break the seal and release the spirits you have trapped. If you go out of the hiding place without salt water, you might encounter something wandering around in your house which might harm you in some way. Apparently, the way to feel the presence of the something wandering around is to watch what happens to the TV, unquote. So yeah, this ritual has always been a favorite of mine as it sounds incredibly creepy and very, very ominous. The Midnight Man. So this one is considered one of the most dangerous rituals, and is one of the few that actually has concrete lore as to why it is so dangerous, and why you would perform this ritual when you get literally nothing out of it. It's simple, because it's a punishment. This one is also extremely popular, and it's even had a really shitty movie made about it. So you know, that's pretty cool. There's also some indie games that were created around the concept too. With all that being said though, let's jump right into it. Quote, "The Midnight Game is an old pagan ritual used mainly as punishment to those who have broken the laws of the pagan religion in question. While it is mainly used as a scare tactic to not disobey the gods, there is still a very real chance of death to those who play the Midnight Game, and there is even higher chance of permanent mental scarring. It is highly recommended that you do not play the Midnight Game, but for those few thrill seekers searching for a rush, or those delving into obscure occult rituals, these are the simple instructions on how to play. Do so at your own risk." Instructions. It must be exactly 12 a.m. when you begin performing the ritual, otherwise it will not work. Materials required include a candle, a wooden door, at least 1 drop of your own blood, a piece of paper, matches or a lighter, and salt. If you are playing with multiple people, they will all need their own for the aforementioned materials and will have to perform the steps below separately. Step 1. Write your full name, first, middle, and last on a piece of paper, and put at least 1 drop of your blood onto the paper. Allow it to soak into the paper. Step 2. Turn off all the lights in the house. Go to your front door, which must be wooden, and place the piece of paper with your name on it in front of it. Now take the candle and light it. Place the candle on top of the paper with your name. Step 3. Knock on your own door 22 times. The hour must be 12 a.m. upon the final knock. Then, open the door. Blow out the candle and close the door. You have just allowed the Midnight Man into your house. Step 4. Immediately relight your candle. This is where the game begins. You must now look around your now completely dark house, the lit candle in hand. Your goal is to avoid the Midnight Man at all costs until exactly 3:33 a.m. Should your candle ever go out, then that means the Midnight Man is nearby. You must relight the candle within the next 10 seconds. If you are unsuccessful in relighting the candle, you must then immediately surround yourself with a circle of salt. If you are unsuccessful in both of these, the Midnight Man will then induce a hallucination of your greatest fear, which will last until 3:33 a.m. If you are successful in creating a circle of salt, you must stay within the circle until 3:33 a.m. You must continue until 3:33 a.m. without being attacked by the Midnight Man or being trapped within a circle of salt to win the Midnight Game. The Midnight Man will then leave at 3:33 a.m. and you will be safe to proceed with your morning. Addendum. Indications that you are near the Midnight Man include a sudden drop in temperature, seeing a pure black humanoid figure through the darkness, and very soft whispering coming from an indiscernible source. If you experience any of these, it is advised that you leave the area to avoid the Midnight Man. Staying in one spot through the entire game will only result in the Midnight Man finding you. It's highly advised that you keep moving throughout the game. Do not turn on any lights during the midnight game. Do not use a flashlight during the midnight game. Do not go to sleep during the midnight game. Do not use another person's blood on your name. Do not use a lighter to substitute for a candle. It will not work. And definitely do not try to provoke the Midnight Man in any way. That is all. Have fun. Unquote. And that is it, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you enjoyed this one-off little iceberg I decided to put together. It had been a good while since I had covered anything truly horror or creepypasta related on the channel, so I thought this would be a fun little thing to put together for you guys. And in the future, if there's any other one-off icebergs about specific creepypasta or horror related, or I guess really anything related icebergs you would like to see me cover in a one-off iceberg, then please do comment down below and let me know. But until then, I just want to make sure to thank you all for watching through this video. I hope that you all like and subscribe if you do. It really helps support the channel. But I also want to give an even bigger thank you to all of my loyal patrons and channel members for continuing to support the channel and all the projects that I do on here, including all of my night eggs and my night owlets, as well as a very special thank you to all of my great night owls, including Hexmaniac Hannah and Ho Hot, and a super duper special thank you to all of my arch owls, including the wise Nicodemus, the talented Cherry and GT, the always Chi Vibes Zen Garden Party, the daring Daniel Petrie, the Super Saiyan Star Punch Gaming, the mysterious Mr. Gaming Sheep, the fearless Forgotten Ace, and the Supersonic Sword. Thank you all so very much, and until next time, this has been Dylan the Night Owl, flying off.